You're wandering around in those dirty clothes again. Don't tell me that's the only outfit you own. My job is to build sets for TV productions. While I was assembling a set at the studio for the next day's shoot, an old high school classmate who works at the TV station showed up. He took one look at me in my work clothes and smirked. Big shots visit this place, you know. Try to look presentable, will you? You're making us look bad. He had always been a petty, condescending jerk. Because of him, I had some awful memories from the past. But I didn't care about his insults toward me. What I couldn't stand was him looking down on my work. This set looks so cheap. I can't believe someone with this kind of taste actually built it. What did you just say? The moment I let my anger show, the atmosphere in the room changed completely. And soon, the same guy who had been looking down on me had no choice but to lower his head in apology. With the whole studio in an uproar, he was left speechless as he learned the truth for the first time. All right, that's a wrap. Good job, everyone. At the producer's call, the crew burst into action. That was a cue for me to start working. You know, I always think it's a bit sad. It'd be nice if we could keep all of them. As I muttered to myself while dismantling the set, one of my senior colleagues chuckled. I get what you mean, but if we kept everything, we'd run out of storage space in no time. Yeah, you're right. My name is Ryan. I'm 30 years old. I build sets for variety shows, dramas, commercials, and more. Basically, I create the backgrounds and decorations used in filming. Right now, my coworkers and I are taking apart a set that was just used for a music program. This section alone took us 2 weeks to perfect after multiple revisions, and it was only used for half a day of filming. The actual airtime was even shorter than that. It really is fleeting, isn't it? Our job is to design and build sets from scratch, transport them to the site, and assemble them. Then, as soon as filming wraps up, we break everything down to make space for the next production. That's just how it is. But no matter how many times I do it, it's always a little heartbreaking to tear apart something we put so much effort into. If I had my way, I'd keep every set intact. Since that's impossible, I at least try to dismantle them carefully as a way of saying thank you for their service. I work for Westwood Art and Design, a company run by my father. A quiet, workaholic craftsman, my dad was hardly ever home when I was a kid. Honestly, I didn't like him much back then. So what made me choose the same career as him? It all started with something my mom said while we were watching my favorite superhero show. This week's episode was amazing, especially when Red stormed the villain's hideout alone to rescue everyone. Then she smiled at me and asked, "Ryan, why do you think Red was so cool?" Huh? Because he's strong and a badass hero, obviously. That's true, but actually your dad had a hand in making him cool too. What? That's when I learned that the villain's hideout was built by my dad's company. To me, it had been a real submarine interior with an actual ocean visible through the windows. When the heroes panicked, shouting, "The ship is sinking," I had been right there with them, nearly in tears, begging them to escape. If you were in your own room and someone shouted, "The ship is sinking," would you believe it? No way. My room isn't a ship, so it wouldn't sink. Exactly. That's why your dad's work is amazing. With a warm smile, she told me, "My father's job is to move people's hearts, just like how I was drawn into the hero's world as a child." Without the sets created by craftsmen like my father, no matter how great the actors' performances were, they would just be reciting lines in an empty space. That's why I came to believe that my father, who put his heart into every set he built, was just as cool as the heroes on screen. But it wasn't until I started working at his company that I truly understood the meaning behind those words and just how skilled he really was. A set must never overshadow the actors or entertainers. At the same time, it can't be so dull that it fades completely into the background. Striking that perfect balance is far harder than it seems. Hey, change that color and repaint it. While working in the company's workshop, my father would sometimes give orders like that. Even if I asked why, his response was always the same: just do it. Yet every time we assembled the set on location and the performers took their places, his reasoning became crystal clear. Oh, it's because of the outfit color. The host of the show had updated his wardrobe. Or maybe the host had changed his hairstyle or something had shifted in their image. My father somehow always got that kind of information early. He could visualize exactly how the set should look to make the people standing in it shine the most. That skill, along with his craftsmanship, was why so many artisans had gathered at his company back when it was still small. As a result, his company had grown into one of the biggest names in the industry. His unwavering commitment to quality and meticulous attention to detail had earned the trust of major TV networks. Now I count myself among those who admire him. I still have a long way to go before he acknowledges me, but one day I want to stand as his equal and follow in his footsteps. To do that, I keep my hands moving for now. I take on as many tasks as I can while learning from my father and the senior craftsman. Then one day I visited a TV station for a business meeting. Huh? Hey, you're Ryan, aren't you? Ryan. A man in a suit called out to me in an overly familiar tone. I recognized that voice instantly. Or rather, I wished I didn't. You're Brandon? As I turned around stiffly, the man smirked at me with that same smug expression I remembered all too well. Memories I'd rather have forgotten came flooding back, and apparently my face went pale. The junior colleague accompanying me looked startled. Are you okay? He asked with concern. It's been a while, Ryan, since high school graduation, right? Brandon, oblivious to my reaction, started rambling about himself. After graduating from a well-known private university, he had joined this TV station. He had worked in various departments, and this year, he had finally been promoted to the coveted production team. His career was progressing smoothly, and management had high hopes for him, or so he made sure to emphasize. Well, it keeps me busy, but life's great both at work and in my personal life, you know? I see. That's good for you. The way he stressed personal life made it clear he knew exactly why I had gone pale. And yet, he deliberately brought it up. That same underhanded smugness of his hadn't changed at all. Not since 13 years ago when he stole my first girlfriend. Well, I just thought she and I made a better match. Back then, he had smirked at me just like this while announcing that he had started dating my girlfriend. The very next day after she had abruptly dumped me, saying, I found someone else I like. That's when I realized I had been betrayed by both of them. Oh, and by the way, I made sure to tell everyone. You might be the son of a company president, but you're no rich kid. If anything, your dad must be drowning in debt since he spends all his time working in that shabby old warehouse. For the rest of high school, Brandon relentlessly mocked me. He mocked me saying, a pathetic wannabe rich kid. And a loser who even got dumped by his girlfriend. He even said to me that I would never get married and just work myself to death, and that even if I would find someone, they would dump me just as fast. So, what's the situation now? Are you married or at least seeing someone seriously? I've been too busy with work. Ha, knew it. No surprise there. I mean, just look at yourself. Brandon smirked, his grin widening as he looked down at my work clothes stained with paint and dust. Back in high school, and even now, he had the looks to be considered handsome if only he kept his mouth shut. The moment he spoke, his true nature oozed out, twisting his expression into something ugly. That was the kind of man Brandon was. My job keeps me busy too, but my girlfriend's been pushing for marriage. Oh, by the way, you know her pretty well. Yeah, we've been together for over 10 years now. Guess we're just that compatible. By the way, no matter how much you work, you should at least try to dress decently when you come to a place like this. I mean, this is a TV station full of celebrities and people with taste. You don't want to stand out as the poor, scruffy guy who doesn't belong, right? He leaned in close, patting my shoulder with a fake air of concern, just my friendly advice, of course. He kept going, endlessly mocking my appearance, my work, and my personal life. Sorry, but I need to go. I shoved past him, ready to walk away. And that's when it happened. Good morning. A clear, confident voice rang through the hallway. Everyone nearby turned in its direction and then froze, captivated. A woman walked toward us, exuding a natural aura of presence. Good morning. I look forward to working with you today. As she passed, she flashed a warm smile and gave a small nod. At that moment, my junior colleague stood frozen, his mouth slightly open as if time had stopped. Hey, pull yourself together. You see celebrities all the time here. But that was Lily right in front of me. He trembled as he pointed toward where she had walked off. Seeing that, Brandon smirked smugly and nodded, saying, Yeah. I get it. She's on another level. After all, that was Lily. Lily was one of the fastest rising young actors in the industry. Praised as one of the top talents of her generation, she possessed an elegant yet striking beauty. Her acting skills had earned recognition from renowned film directors and critics. And despite her rising fame, she remained humble and dedicated, never turning down even the smallest roles. She's perfect. Hard to believe she's only 24. She's going to get even bigger, mark my words. Brandon went on and on, showing off his insider knowledge. But then, his expression changed. His face slackened, his mouth curved into a love-struck grin, and it was the exact look of someone smitten. Between you and me, I think Lily has a thing for me. What? You saw it too, right? That smile she gave me. So cute. I was speechless. You probably don't know, but in this industry, it's pretty common for TV station employees and celebrities to fall for each other. Spending time together at work, growing closer. It happens all the time. And guess what? I'm in charge of her show. Man, what a situation. What if the tabloids start running headlines like elite producer and rising star in secret romance? Ha! Oh, but don't leak anything yet, all right? It's not true for now. Anyway, I really need to go now. Leaving Brandon to his delusions, I walked away. I hoped that would be the last time I ever had to deal with him. But reality had other plans. We crossed paths again. Hey, the shoot's been postponed. Pack up the set, will ya? It was the day before a special program shoot. My team and I were in the middle of assembling the set at the studio when Brandon appeared again. Right now, as you can see, we've nearly finished setting it up. Not my problem. The decision's been made. Just hurry it up, all right? His tone was dismissive and careless. Naturally, my senior colleague frowned. So did the rest of the team. Schedule changes and last-minute adjustments weren't uncommon in this industry. But the problem wasn't the request itself, and it was his attitude. Brandon gave orders with a tone so arrogant and condescending, it was clear he didn't feel even a shred of guilt. Oh, Ryan, I gave you some advice last time, and yet here you are again, looking just as filthy. Don't tell me that's the only set of clothes you own? As if he had just found the perfect target, Brandon's face lit up, and he strode toward me with a smug grin. Is it strange to wear work clothes while working? Even so, there are limits, you know. Don't tell me you walked around the station looking like that. Come on, man, cut me some slack. Important sponsors visit this place. You gotta think about how this reflects on us. Anyway, you said you're short on time, right? I'll get back to work. For the record, my work uniform that day was practically brand new, only a few days old. It was obvious that he just wanted an excuse to criticize me. Dealing with him was a waste of energy. I was about to return to dismantling the set when... But man, what a cheap-looking set. Seriously, what kind of request results in something this tacky? What? I turned around sharply, and for a moment, Brandon looked flustered before forcing a laugh. What? Don't tell me you're actually mad? Mock me all you want, I don't care. But this set took over a month of hard work from an entire team. If you're going to insult that. Anger flared up in my chest, as if the careless hurry up and tear it down hadn't already pissed me off enough. Might as well say everything I've been holding back. I clenched my fists, but before I could speak. That's the set you ordered, by the way. So if it's tacky, that's on your taste. Ryan's work clothes are dirty? Say that to all of us, look us in the eye and say it. The ones speaking up were my senior colleagues, finally fed up with Brandon's attitude. One by one, they stood large and imposing, their voices rising as they approached. Brandon's face turned pale, and a pitiful squeak escaped him. Hey, don't come any closer. If you lay a hand on me, I won't send any more work your way. Guys, calm down. Let's just finish breaking down the set and go home, all right? I stepped in, not to defend Brandon, but because I knew how scary my seniors could be when truly angry. They had been through hell and back, working alongside my father to build this company. They weren't just skilled craftsmen, and they were tough as nails. Right now, they were seconds away from snapping. Get lost, while you still can. You'll regret this. Don't come crying to me later. Brandon spat out his final words before bolting, but little did he know, the one who would be begging for help later was him. We've been turned down by every other company. Westwood Art and Design is our only hope. A middle-aged man in a suit bowed repeatedly before my father, desperation in his voice. My father crossed his arms and shook his head, looking unimpressed. I'd just returned from an errand when I walked into this scene. What's going on, Dad? Something happened. As I rushed over to where my father and Mark were standing, I couldn't help but blurt out, Ugh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh, perfect timing, Ryan. Help me convince your father, will you? Brandon? Standing beside the desperate man was none other than Brandon himself. You two know each other? Mark asked, puzzled. Of course, Mark, Ryan, and I have been best friends since high school. So leave this to me. As Brandon puffed out his chest with confidence, Mark, the department head, visibly brightened as if he had just found a ray of hope. The idea that we were best friends couldn't have been further from the truth. Actually, we need to place an urgent request. We're holding an event at our hall in 2 weeks, and we need you to build the set. What? Even for a TV set, a minimum of 1 month was required for completion. For a hall, it was more than twice the size of a studio. The time required would be at least double that. In other words, Brandon's request was utterly impossible. Just to ask, Dad, what are you planning to do? When I asked, my father simply muttered, impossible. Yeah, figured as much. Please, I'm begging you. Mark bowed deeply to us. The company they had originally hired had gone bankrupt, and they had lost all contact with its owner. Panicked, they had reached out to every other company they could think of, only to be turned down. We were their last hope. Come on, Ryan. We go way back, don't we? I have no idea what you're talking about. Have you already forgotten about what happened the other day? Let's just set that aside for now. That's in the past, right? What matters is that you consider this request. The other day, don't tell me there was some kind of trouble between you and Westwood Art and Design? What? No way. Of course not, Mark. Haha. Brandon's frantic attempt to brush it off confirmed one thing. He hadn't reported what had happened to his boss. It wasn't the first time we'd dealt with arrogant TV station employees, so we hadn't bothered filing a complaint. But setting that aside, impossible was still impossible. We'd love to help, but our schedule is packed. I'm afraid we just can't take it on. I understand. Honestly, I appreciate you even hearing us out. Mark had expected this outcome, so he accepted defeat with a sigh. That should have been the end of it. They should have left. But then, don't get the wrong idea just because we were being polite, you damn small-time subcontractors. What? Everyone froze. All eyes turned to Brandon. Oblivious, he raised his voice even more. This is a TV station job. You should be begging for the chance to work with us. Who do you think you are turning it down? Did you forget how much work we've given you? Without us, you'd be starving. And you even had the nerve to talk back the other day. I should have cut you off right then and there. And seriously, Mark, why are you bowing to them? All you have to do is order them to do it. They're just low-level laborers, so we don't have to treat them like anything more than that. A chill ran through the room. I glanced around and everyone had stopped working. My colleagues, who had been dismantling the set just moments ago, now stood in stunned silence. What did he just say? Did he just call us low-level? That guy. He's the same one from before, isn't he? My senior colleagues, those who already had a bad history with Brandon, began murmuring among themselves. But it wasn't just our team. Even the other TV station employees standing nearby were frozen, their expressions filled with disbelief. Huh? Even Brandon finally noticed the shift in the atmosphere. He glanced around, blinking in confusion. Wait, why is everyone looking at me like that? And then, I sincerely apologize. Brandon, do you even realize what you just said? Mark, whoa, what's with you all of a sudden? Apologize, right now. What? Mark grabbed the back of Brandon's head and forced him into a bow. Brandon flailed, trying to resist. What are you doing? Let me go. But Mark's expression had gone completely pale, and then he dropped the truth that left Brandon absolutely stunned. We're bowing because if we don't, we won't even get the chance to ask for work from them. Huh? Brandon's face went blank, his mouth slightly open. He really didn't know that Westwood Art and Design is one of the leading companies in the industry, that our main clients are the major national TV networks, and that this local station is the only regional network we work with, and that the only reason we even accepted jobs from them was because their own president had personally pleaded with my father. Look around you, Brandon. You're the only one who didn't know. How many years have you even been working here? No, but there are other art companies. There's no other company that can match their quality. Please just stop talking already. You haven't said anything else offensive, have you? Seeing his subordinate avert his eyes, Mark went pale and clutched his head. Then, without hesitation, he grabbed the back of Brandon's head and forced him into another bow. I sincerely apologize. Now, you too. Sorry. Brandon muttered his apology, clearly reluctant. With that, the tension in the room eased, and Mark practically dragged him out of the studio. Eventually, we finished our work, and the set was completed. As usual, I stayed behind alone to check for any forgotten tools or materials. That's when he showed up again. Ryan, this is all your fault. Brandon stepped into the studio, looking completely drained. His neatly styled hair was now a mess. He had clearly been chewed out after that incident. And yet, he still had the nerve to glare at me. How was supposed to know you guys were a major company when you walk around in filthy work clothes? I was tricked. If this ruins my career, I swear I'll never forgive you. I've been meaning to say this for a while, but that logic of yours is completely backwards. What? Brandon thought mocking my dirty work clothes was an insult. But to me, those stains were proof of my hard work, almost like badges of honor. Every time I looked at them, I felt proud of what I had built. Which meant every time he tried to insult me, he was actually complimenting me. I like these work clothes. I'd wear them proudly in front of anyone, no matter how high up they are. You're mocking me. Brandon's face turned red with rage, and he lunged forward, reaching for my collar. But before he could grab me, a dignified voice echoed through the studio. How are you, everyone? Huh? Brandon froze mid-motion, turning toward the source of the voice. And it was no wonder, because the person standing at the entrance was Lily? Oh, good evening, Brandon. What are you doing here? Don't tell me you came to see me. In an instant, his anger vanished, replaced by a ridiculous, love-struck grin. But Lily didn't even flinch. No, I didn't. What? Actually, I've been meaning to say this for a while. Can you stop? Huh? Lily? Every time we run into each other, you say things like, "Did you come to see me?" or "Did you miss me?" It's honestly creepy. Just so we're clear, everything has been in your head. You're imagining it. Imagining it? And there's one more thing I've been meaning to say. With that, I stepped in front of Lily, as if shielding her from Brandon. Stop pestering her. Lily is my girlfriend. It all started about a year ago when I worked on a project for a key TV station. Since I was in charge of designing the set for a drama Lily starred in, she was the one who approached me first. I want to use it as a reference for my acting. Would you mind showing me your workshop? Despite her packed schedule, she made time to visit our workshop regularly, genuinely eager to learn. As I watched her dedication, I gradually found myself drawn to her. Eventually, I confessed, and that's how our secret relationship began. I've been careful to keep our relationship out of the tabloids, considering Lily's position, but when she told me you were getting more aggressive, I knew it was time to set the record straight. The day I ran into Brandon again, Lily's smile wasn't meant for him. It was meant for me. And the very next day, he had started stalking her. All because he had convinced himself that she was interested in him. A misunderstanding? Me? Brandon, you have a girlfriend, don't you? Even if Lily had feelings for you, what exactly were you planning to do about it? Wait, you have a girlfriend? And yet you had the audacity to tell me it'll make you happy? I have no respect for you. The moment Lily said those words, Brandon, stunned, suddenly stepped onto the set. And then, "You're all the same. You tricked me." With a furious shout, he swept everything off the table. Ah! Dishes crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. Startled, Lily let out a small scream and instinctively clung to me. I held her close, and the sight of it only made Brandon snap. Don't rub it in my face. Are you mocking me? Fine, I'll destroy everything, and it's all your fault. He rampaged across the set, kicking over props and smashing anything within reach. Not wanting to provoke him further, I leaned down and whispered to Lily. Go get someone, preferably a guy. Okay. It was right after Lily sneaked out of the studio. Arr! A sudden shout echoed through the space. Brandon froze mid-rampage, startled by the loud, furious voice. Then charging into the studio at full speed was. Brandon, what do you think you're doing? Mark, it's not what it looks like. Reality finally hit him. He scrambled down from the set, but it was far too late. The set, designed for a home cooking show scheduled for filming the next day, was completely wrecked. The cozy dining room setup was now a disaster zone. Not what it looks like? Look at this mess. Do you think we can film like this? I'm sorry. Mark was livid while Brandon had already dropped to his knees in apology. Just then, Lily returned, having missed Mark on the way out. Is the set okay, Ryan? She looked at me worriedly. It's built to be sturdy, so it should be fine, I reassured her. But we would still need to check. Hello? Yeah, we've got a bit of a situation here. Soon after, my senior colleagues arrived. Brandon found himself completely surrounded, his face drained of color. Then after that, his verbal abuse toward us, his harassment of Lily, and everything came to light. And as a result, Brandon was permanently removed from the company's fast-track career path. Following this incident, my father decided to cut all ties with the TV station. Lily also reported the stalking incident to her agency, which led to the cancellation of the show she was set to appear in. As a result, Brandon was forced to take responsibility and was transferred to a regional affiliate station. Oh, and his girlfriend of over 10 years? She found out about his attempts to hit on Lily. And so, he left for an unfamiliar place completely alone. Rumor has it he won't be coming back. Lily, will you marry me? No matter what happens, I'll always protect you. Ryan. Once both of our work schedules had settled, I finally proposed. Of course, her answer was yes. With tears in her eyes, yet smiling as she accepted the ring, she was, without a doubt, the most beautiful woman in the world. If you'd rather keep the engagement a secret, my agency said they'll fully support us. No, let's announce it to everyone. And so, our grand engagement announcement, including a full press conference, became a major topic in the media. Now, no man would mistake her smile for something more than it was. Now, I could ensure no one else like Brandon would ever appear. Just as planned. What kind of man is your fiance? At the press conference, a reporter asked Lily this question. With a radiant smile, she answered, "He's someone who always gives his all and takes great pride in his work." Well then, I can't let her be a liar, can I? Watching her on the screen, I renewed my resolve. I will continue to take pride in my work and strive to create even better sets. With each project, I will put my heart into it, crafting sets that move people. Our work is behind the scenes. We rarely receive recognition. That's why there are those who look down on us or think our work can be taken lightly. But every job exists for a reason. And there are people who take pride in doing that job. That is something no one should ever forget. Most importantly, we must take pride in what we do. Because I believe that is the key to doing even better work tomorrow.